Okay, today I'm going to get into pillar number 5, mobility. This one pretty much deals with static dynamic stretching. You can do one or both, and it also deals with yoga. And this one ties in perfectly with like a recovery pillar I did last week, and also training as well. So, like for instance, like with training, if you're doing like you push pull leg split for lifting, what you can do is instead extend that to like a 4 day split or whatever. Do push pull legs and then yoga, and it would help out with actually recovery too. So like for instance, like if you're going like heavy with the push exercises like the bench press and like tricep extensions and stuff like that, and also with like a lot of compound movements for like back, like the barbell row and like overhand dumbbell pull over and everything. You can also like and with the legs, like the compound movements of like deadlifts and squats and everything, like it can help extend into like doing yoga. It can like extend into like help with the recovery, so you're spreading out your like workouts that much more, so that way like for the recovery aspect, it gives you like an extra day to kind of like give yourself a chance to like uh, instead of like 48 to 72 hours, it gives you that extra 24 hours to recover in between each lifting sessions per muscle group you do and everything. And like you could like also do like with like another split, like an upper lower, where you do like all your pretty much all your upper body lifts one day, and then your lower body lifts the next day, and then like the third day you do yoga, which will help in like recovery, and also gives you like that sense of like you're also accomplishing something. So as of right now, this one's probably my weakest point right now, because I've gotten away somewhat from doing like mobility and everything. So like you also can do it during like lifting days as well. So like you don't necessarily have to do like a necessarily like a half hour or even like an hour or 2 hour long yoga class or whatever. What you can do is just like 15 minutes in like the morning or something, where you're doing like hip and spine rotations and everything that help kind of get yourself moving and everything. So like the normally what I do like in the morning would is like the 15 minutes or of like yoga or stretch and everything, where I'm like doing like a spinal twist, like moving it in like this 6 directions that you can like move it in. And I'm also doing like hip rotations and like doing some stretching as well. So like in the morning, it helps get things kind of like uh moving, my body moving and everything, after like having like my morning tea and everything, kind of get myself mentally ready for the day. It helps like that stretching helps you get physically ready for the day, so you can also add it in during lifting days. So like with dynamic and static stretching, what can help too is like usually you want to do stuff like that, like in my experiences and stuff I've come across, what you want to do is that kind of like after, so you don't necessarily put yourself in a position where you could increase the chance of getting like injured, because if you're stretching your muscles out beforehand, you might not necessarily be able to lift as much, or if you do, it might increase the risk of getting an injury or something. But like what you need to do with the saying that is also look into like other things like that might be like that might work for you. So like you might find that something doing like similar 15-minute mobility flow like that I do in the morning might be something good to help you get warmed up or something for a lifting session, or even like a cardio session if that's what you're into and everything. So like this can like kind of cover the other aspects, and like I said, with the other two pillars of recovery and training. So that way, like if like for instance, like today, if I did a huge leg day, and like tomorrow, like I was feeling it in my legs, and like I felt like a little sore in like my upper body as well, for maybe I slept wrong in the wrong position or something, or I felt like I tweaked a shoulder, or whatever. What I could do is I could take like a day where I do maybe do a full hour or class of yoga or something, like, and you can find stuff online, especially like YouTube, where you can like go online and like find like videos that you can like follow along with, so you don't necessarily need to go like to a yoga studio or a gym and pay money for like a membership at those two places. So like all you need is pretty much yourself and everything to be able to do yoga. But like the reason I say you want to get like a yoga mat and blocks and like a strap and everything is like especially with the mat, is that you have like a little like space set out, so that way you kind of have like the four corners, and you kind of like you can kind of get like a gauge of like your space and stretching like and like you can also like like I said, gauge things slightly better. So like instead of like just doing it on the floor, so like and like with blocks, what you can do is like some people feel like using blocks, you're actually cheating, because like for instance, if you're leaning over doing like a hamstring stretch or something, like people feel like, well, you're cheating and not kind of full stretch if you're using blocks. But like it's with blocks, like especially if you're beginning, you might not necessarily have the mobility to be able to get all the way down and touch the ground with your hands to do like a complete hamstring stretch. So what you can do with the blocks is use them to kind of elevate the floor, so I guess, so that way like you can still get it in and progress. Like you can put it on like like the longest way you go, like and then switch it over so like it's not as high, and then put it down to like the lowest height it has, and then you can get like progress that way and everything. So like and like the reason why like stuff like stretching and yoga is important is that later in life, when like you're starting to pile up the mileage of like living a full life and everything, especially like you'll probably start seeing it like your 50s and 60s and even into your 70s and 80s. Like if you this is something that like one of the many things that if like you don't do, you're probably going to see like it later in life. Like everyone knows the stereotypical like hunched over little granny with her like a little like cane and like a little purse over, and like all like rigid and like stiff and everything. It's like it's, you got to ask yourself, is that something like you really want to happen to you and everything later in life? So that's why like doing things like like I said, the dynamic and static stretching and or yoga can help for set yourself up for later success and everything. So like and like it's like with it being its own pillar, like you kind of can hit it like every day, like because like the last pillar is consistency, so that's like you kind of want to do it every day. So like I said, it doesn't have to necessarily be an hour long session. What you can do is like work yourself in like 15-20 minutes or so, so that way like you can like go hey, I got it in, and it can give you a sense of an accomplishment, like hey, look, I didn't do like much for like lifting, or like I'm a swimmer, so I couldn't get into the pool today to swim, but at least I got this in and everything. So like and getting into like the 4 points like with the smart recovery, what you can plug it into that is like it helps like with the first step, it helps you like at least like maintain motivation, like okay, look, I'm adding this into like a healthy lifestyle and everything, so like I can help build and then maintain that motivation of staying away from like whatever like substance I was abusing or whatever. It can help like also like especially like I reiterate early, it can help you early on in recovery, like helping you control those urges. So like instead of like if you feel kind of like anxious or whatever, and like you want to go out and like to the local convenience store and get a six-pack or something, what you can do is like kind of like distract yourself with this, and kind of use this like jump on YouTube and like the YouTube example I used, find a video and like follow along, and before you know, like maybe like an hour and a half has passed, and like you've it took you an hour and a half to do like a 45-minute class, but now like the urge passed and everything, so it can help you control those urges, especially early on. And like with the third point, it can help you like control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, because it can give you something to focus on. Like like, okay, well, here's something for me to do that I can focus my attention on, instead of like the last point with the, controlling urges, like instead of going down the convenience store and getting distracted and mindless buying something that's a six pack or something. You can stay at home, keep yourself focused on the yoga class and everything, and it can help, especially if the type of music there is kind of soothing that they use, and that's kind of typical for like a lot of yoga classes, that they use a kind of like a soothing music, so that way you can kind of feel more relaxed. So it can help you get in a better state of mind to control your thoughts, and then your behaviors will fall in suit, and like same thing like your emotions and everything. And it does lead into a more balanced lifestyle, because like I said, with the pillars, looking into the other pillars, it can help like you said, like I said, with the training, you can add into a lifting routine, or you can add into a running routine. Like if you're a marathon runner, you go out and you do a marathon, you run like the famous one, the Boston Marathon. You run that, and the next day you're kind of feeling stiff and everything, so you can use that as a recovery day, like pillar number 4. And then with the yoga, you're using yoga as uh, kind of to help get yourself not as get all the stiffness and soreness and everything. So you're hitting pretty much 3 pillars in one with doing yoga on a day, after a intense workout or something. So that way it can kind of you can kind of see how everything can be kind of interconnected and everything. And so that way it can help in your long-term success with life and everything. So for me, this is with going through the 7 pillars, is you can give, it gives me stuff the kind of like a checklist, okay, I got this, I got this, I got this, and and now with everything, there's no such thing as perfection. So you're always constantly rehashing things on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And so like I said earlier, right now this is kind of one of my weak spots right now, because I've kind of gotten away from it. And I know it's a weak spot, so it's it's looking like I'll be able to get back into it this next week with everything going on. So hopefully I can address this weakness for myself, and can turn around and be like, oh hey, look, I've had success with this, getting back on track or something. And a lot of times we do get off track with stuff and everything. So it's just a matter of looking okay, I didn't get to I haven't gotten to this in a while. So we tend to beat ourselves up the most and everything. So it's a matter of okay, this is a weakness I need to address. I haven't addressed it in a while, so I need to get back to this. And it's an ongoing process and everything. So that's why stuff like this is important for us to hit the 4 points of the smart recovery, especially those of us that are in recovery, or have gotten to the point where we're fine with our this is a recovery, and it gives us something else to keep improving on. So this next week, I'll be getting into the next pillar, which is mindfulness, and that's really kind of how focus is on the mental health and everything. So until next week.